So last year I drove the 2019 Charger Hellcat Redeye Widebody, and that vehicle was an amazing machine. But if you need 2 extra doors, this is definitely what you want to be getting, the Charger Hellcat Widebody. Let's get into it. So the wide body is your only option if you're going for a Charger Hellcat in 2020. And it's all for the better because it looks so good. It's 3.5 inches wider than the standard Charger. And what that width is doing is covering up the 11-inch wide tires. Also with the Hellcat, you get that 6.2 liter supercharged HEMI V8 engine. That pushes 707 horsepower, 650 foot-pounds of torque. It's a monster. Anytime you put your foot a little bit harder on the gas, it's instant power and instant smiles. Of course, it's not just going power, you have stopping power with large Brembo brakes, which we'll get into a little bit later in the video. One thing that's undeniable is that supercharger whine is just glorious, and nobody's really doing that as well as Dodge with these Hellcat engines. With this setup, you get a 0 to 60 time of 3.6 seconds. You do have launch control, which is definitely needed in this vehicle. We'll get more into that in a bit. The quarter mile time is 10.96 seconds, and top speed is 196 miles per hour. You do get an 8-speed automatic transmission in here, and that has a manual shift mode, and you do have paddle shifters here on the wheel. And those paddle shifters are a nice option to have, but I don't end up using them myself all that much. But if you're taking it on a drag strip or something and you want to manually control when you shift, you can do it. You do have different drive modes here. You can go into the SRT pages, which we'll touch on a little bit later, but you have a track mode, a sport mode, a custom setting, and the auto mode. Auto mode will actually limit your horsepower a little bit in this vehicle and deaden everything just a little bit. Sport mode gives you that full 707 horsepower. You get a sport transmission setting. Paddle shifters are engaged, and your traction, suspension, and steering are all set into sport mode. Track mode, you also get that 707 horsepower, obviously. Your transmission is now in track mode. Paddle shifters are on, and traction, suspension, and steering are all in track modes. All right, so for launch control, you can just hit the launch button here. Hold your foot on the brake, get ready, hold on, and go. And that was a furious mess, but a lot of fun. And you put it into auto mode and it all kind of calms down, even though it's still loud and aggressive. This is definitely just one of those vehicles that makes you a kid, a child. It puts a big smile on your face every time you hear that exhaust, hear that supercharger whine, and feel yourself being pushed back into the seats. It's not all about the straight line performance though. Dodge has made a lot of decisions for this vehicle that makes it really good with turns, and if you can rein in that power a little bit, this thing does handle itself really well. Sports traction control definitely does its job to keep you from making a fool of yourself sometimes. As well as having some go power, you definitely have stopping power. You get special Brembo brakes with 15.4-inch rotors. So let's find a place to pull over, be a little bit more reasonable, and we'll take a look at the interior and tech inside of this vehicle. All right, so here in the back seats, you do get plenty of room. I've got plenty of knee room. Headroom's a little bit tight for me. I'm 6'1", but plenty of space back here, even with the seat pushed a little bit far back. You do get heated seats back here and 2 USB ports. And we did make plenty of runs as a family with me, my wife, and 3 kids in the back. The biggest problem with that is the driveline tunnel here. So you don't get a flat floor, and whoever's sitting in the middle is going to be a little bit more uncomfortable than sitting on either side. But with these rear doors, it is easy to get in and out of. When I had the Charger Hellcat, the kids hated getting in and out of the back seats. I don't blame them. I didn't even try to get in the back seat, even though it is a pretty spacious back seat for a coupe. This is a much easier life for a family man or anybody that's going to be using the back seats at any point. All right, and as far as the front seats go, there is a lot of nice luxury in here for being a Dodge. You get nice leather seats. They are heated seats. You do get the SRT Hellcat stamped into this leather right here. Pretty cool feature. You also get the SRT badge over here above the glove box and an SRT badge here on the steering wheel. So this is definitely a race-inspired interior. You do get carbon fiber trimming. You get a new Hellcat instrument panel with red gauges. The carbon fiber trimming is courtesy of the carbon fiber and suede package. We have a leather wrap steering wheel with perforated leather and white stitching. And we also have the optional Harman Kardon stereo system with 19 speakers. Of course, who cares about that stereo when you can listen to this glorious engine? You get Dodge's Uconnect 4C system. You get an 8.4-inch touchscreen display, and this has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto integrations standard. You also get SRT performance pages, which we dove into a little bit during driving, but I have a whole separate video for that on my other channel, really diving into everything that offers. Behind the steering wheel is a 7-inch display nestled between the 2 analog gauges. This driver information display gives instant information on performance, available navigation, and plenty of vehicle stats, and is easily customizable with the steering wheel mounted controls. And new for 2020 are 4 new performance technologies, including race cool down, which keeps the cooling of the supercharger and engine going even after the engine is cut off. You also have line lock, which will hold the front brakes steady while keeping the rear wheels ready to do a burnout. You have launch control, which I've already shown you guys and is a pretty amazing and needed feature in this vehicle. And you have launch assist, which is constantly measuring the dampers and the speed and everything going on in the car to make sure that when you hit that gas, you don't go out of control. Now, when you buy a new SRT Hellcat, it does come with 2 keys. I only got the 1 key, but I got the key that matters. This is the red key. You also get a black key. So if the car sees the black key, it actually limits the horsepower to like 500 horsepower. With the red key, you can unlock that full 707 horsepower. The key fob isn't anything too special, but again, this is red, and on the back, you do get the SRT Hellcat. And you obviously get lock and unlock, a trunk pop, and a remote start. With that, let's hop out, take a look around the car, check out all the details and what's new with 2020. So new with the front fascia includes a new mail slot grille, providing the most direct route for cool air to travel into the radiator to maintain the ideal operation temperature even in the hottest conditions. You have that big bold hood that comes straight from the Charger Hellcat with dual heat extractors and an air inductor in the center. And this also helps keep that engine cool when you're really pushing this car. Moving along to the side of the car, you have new side seals which connect the front and rear fascias to help amplify this integrated design. You also have these massive 20-inch by 11-inch wheels with wider Pirelli 305 35Z R20 tires. We have those 6-piston Brembo brakes. So it's not all about going. You definitely have some stopping power in this car as well. Around the rear here, you have a new rear spoiler unique to the Charger SRT Hellcat Widebody. It's specifically designed to help the aero balance along with the new front end design. Also around the back, you're obviously getting that light bar, and you get these dual exhaust ports that are pretty massive. Also integrated into the rear fender are these air extraction vents that help move air along the bottom of the car and out the wheel wells. Another new touch on the 2020 SRT Hellcat are 2-piece satin chrome SRT Hellcat fender badges. And of course, along the back, you get an SRT Hellcat badge, and on the front fascia, you get an SRT Hellcat badge. No matter what angle you're looking at this car, you're gonna know it's a Hellcat. And wrapping up the exterior, this color is called Knuckle White, a really cool name for it. And Dodge has a bunch of really cool names for their colors to match along with the sportiness of these vehicles. But it is very difficult to keep clean, especially with these wide tires. Keeping the bottom and behind the tires clean on the body is a pain in the butt. All right, so let's take a quick look in the trunk. This is a big sedan. It does have a good sized trunk. You obviously have a button on the trunk, a button inside, and a button on the key fob. And we've already talked about this key fob. This is the red key fob. And you just hit that button on the key fob twice and it will auto pop that trunk. And the total cargo volume here is 16.5 cubic feet, which is a good amount of space for a trunk. Obviously, we have it a mess with all of our camera gear right now, but trust me, it's a nice sized trunk. So obviously we've already mentioned it, but this is the 6.2 liter supercharged HEMI V8 engine. This pushes 707 horsepower, 650 foot-pounds of torque, and it's matched up to an 8-speed automatic transmission with manual mode and paddle shifters. This is a great engine, a ton of power. You can even get it with more power in the Charger, but we'll talk about that in just a second. All right, and with that, let's talk about some of the trims you get with the Charger. All right, so there are quite a few trim levels that you can get a Charger in. You can get the SXT, you can get the GT, you can get the RT, and then the Scat Pack, which I think is one of the best bang for the buck options you can get. You can get that Scat Pack with the wide body, which I think looks just as mean as this thing. Not quite as much performance, but still a lot of performance. Again, one of the best bang for your bucks that you can get when you're buying the Charger. And then of course you have the SRT Hellcat Widebody at the top of the line. And the Widebody is the only option that you get when you're getting the Hellcat. But there is one more option that you could look at. If you want to up that 707 horsepower to 717 horsepower, a nice 10 horsepower bump, you could look at the limited production, only 501 units being sold, and that's the 50th anniversary Daytona Hellcat Widebody. All right, and the MSRP on this specific one we're driving is $76,620. That has a few extra options and includes that $2,100 gas guzzling tax and $1,500 destination charge. And competition-wise, well, there's not a lot that competes with this. You can spend an extra $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 and get a German sports sedan. But for this price range and the power that this thing has, it's really untouchable. All right, and besides being larger and wider than the previous generation Charger Hellcat, this thing is also much faster. And with that wide body kit, I think it looks even better than it did before. I definitely came away this week really enjoying this thing. I got so many thumbs up going down the road from guys who knew what this thing was, and probably some that didn't. but just liked the way that it looked and sounded. So all in all, I think that Dodge is doing a great job with these Chargers. I know they're a bit long in the tooth. They've been around for a long time now, but Dodge isn't just sitting on their hands. They're definitely improving this thing year over year. And again, I really just quite enjoyed it. If you've got close to $80,000 that you're looking on spending on a super fast, sporty sedan, really you can't go wrong with this thing. It's amazing. With that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me that thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the Charger SRT Hellcat Widebody. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. What's going on, Texas? I am Adam from Texas Garage, and Texas Garage is a group of automotive enthusiasts and journalists bringing you the latest in automotive news, event coverage, and reviews for the Texas automotive consumer. Definitely be sure to check out us who are Texans living in Texas, reviewing cars in Texas, and bringing them to you.